Here's something fascinating about NAD+ decline. It's not specific to Alzheimer's disease. Researchers have found reduced NAD+ levels in Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, multiple sclerosis, and other neurodegenerative conditions. This suggests that NAD+ depletion might be a common feature of neurodegeneration, a shared metabolic vulnerability across different brain diseases. If true, this has profound implications for how we think about nutritional support for brain health. The reason NAD+ decline appears across multiple conditions probably relates to the fundamental role it plays in cellular energy metabolism. Regardless of what initially triggers neurodegeneration, whether it's protein aggregation in Alzheimer's, dopamine neuron loss in Parkinson's, or autoimmune attack in MS, energy failure becomes part of the disease process. Neurons have enormous energy demands, and when they're under stress from disease, those demands increase at the same time that their energy-producing capacity may be compromised. In Parkinson's disease, mitochondrial dysfunction in dopamine neurons is a well-established feature of the disease. NAD+ is essential for mitochondrial function, so declining NAD+ could contribute to the energy crisis in these vulnerable neurons. In Huntington's disease, the mutant huntingtin protein appears to disrupt multiple aspects of cellular metabolism, including NAD+ production. In ALS, motor neurons show evidence of metabolic stress, and NAD+ depletion precedes neuronal death in animal models. This raises an interesting question. Could dietary strategies that support NAD+ metabolism have broad neuroprotective effects across multiple conditions? It's possible, though we need to be cautious about generalizing. Different neurodegenerative diseases have different underlying mechanisms, affect different neuron populations, and progress at different rates. What helps in one disease might not help in another, even if NAD+ depletion is present in both. The evidence for NAD+ precursor supplementation in neurodegenerative diseases other than Alzheimer's is limited but intriguing. Animal studies have shown benefits in models of Parkinson's, Huntington's, and traumatic brain injury. Human studies are much more limited. There have been a few small trials of NAD+ precursors in Parkinson's patients showing some improvement in certain measures, but the studies are too small and preliminary to draw firm conclusions. One challenge is that these diseases may require different levels or timing of NAD+ support. Parkinson's progresses over many years with a long preclinical phase where pathology develops before symptoms appear. Could NAD+ support during this preclinical phase prevent or delay symptom onset? Possibly, but we'd need very long-term studies to find out. Huntington's disease has a known genetic cause and predictable onset, which actually makes it a good candidate for preventive strategies, but we don't yet know if NAD+ support would help. There's also the question of whether food-based NAD+ support could ever provide enough benefit in these diseases, or whether pharmacological doses would be necessary. The amounts of NAD+ precursors you can get from food are modest compared to what's used in research studies. For serious neurodegenerative diseases, relying on food alone to provide therapeutic levels of NAD+ support might be unrealistic. But here's an important distinction. Even if dietary NAD+ support isn't sufficient as a treatment for established disease, it might still be valuable for prevention or for supporting overall brain health in people at risk. Someone with a family history of Parkinson's or Huntington's might reasonably want to do everything possible to support their brain health, including optimizing nutrition for NAD+ metabolism, even without proof that it will prevent disease. The broader principle here is that brain health is brain health. Nutritional strategies that support energy metabolism, reduce inflammation, provide antioxidant protection, and maintain healthy blood sugar likely benefit the brain regardless of whether someone has a specific disease diagnosis. These are foundational metabolic needs that all neurons have. However, we must not oversell this concept. The specific pathologies of different neurodegenerative diseases, the alpha-synuclein aggregation in Parkinson's, the expanded CAG repeats in Huntington's, the TDP-43 pathology in ALS, these require targeted therapies that address the root cause of that specific disease. NAD+ support alone is not going to stop these disease processes, though it might provide some metabolic support to struggling neurons. The research on NAD+ and neurodegeneration is expanding rapidly, and it's one of the more promising areas of investigation for understanding shared mechanisms across different brain diseases. If NAD+ depletion really is a common pathway, then strategies to maintain healthier NAD+ levels could have broad applicability. But we're still in early days of understanding how this translates to human disease prevention and treatment. For now, the practical message is that the dietary strategies we've discussed for supporting brain NAD+ metabolism, adequate protein, niacin-rich foods, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory fats, blood sugar control, are reasonable general brain health strategies regardless of specific disease concerns. They support fundamental cellular needs that all neurons share. Whether they meaningfully reduce risk or slow progression of specific neurodegenerative diseases remains to be proven, but they align with overall healthy eating patterns that have many other benefits.